On the morning of September 14th, 2016, the stillness of Acorn Woods in Grapevine, Texas, was interrupted by an unusual sight. John Stevens, a local resident, was out for his routine pre-dawn walk. The sky was just beginning to lighten, casting long shadows between the trees, and the cool air had a slight bite to it. As he neared the parking area, his gaze was drawn to an orange glow flickering through the trees. He paused, squinting, trying to make out what was causing the light. He couldn't see the source clearly. The brush and dense trees obstructed his view. Carefully, John edged forward, the smell of smoke intensifying with each step. As he turned a corner on the trail, the sight unfolded before him. Fire gnawed at the forest's edge, and beyond it, a silver or gray SUV tore out of the parking lot, its tires squealing on the gravel. John's pulse quickened, but instinct took over. He had to get help. Moments later, as if on cue, two Parks and Recreation workers, Brock Howard and Mark Lockwood, drove by in their truck. John flagged them down, his voice trembling with urgency as he explained the situation. Without hesitation, Brock and Mark grabbed a 5-gallon bucket of water from the back of their truck, left over from cleaning paintbrushes. Together, they dashed toward the fire, dumping the water onto the flames, which, fortunately, had not yet spread too far. After a few tense minutes, they managed to extinguish the fire, but as the smoke cleared and the last embers fizzled out, something horrific caught their eyes. Lying in the smoldering remains was what appeared to be a blue plastic kiddie pool, charred beyond recognition. And inside the pool, to their horror, were the dismembered remains of a human body. The gravity of the situation sank in. This was no accidental fire. Brock, in shock from what he had seen, immediately dialed 911. This is the story of Jackie Vandergift. The events leading to a tragic discovery had begun just the night before, on September 13th, 2016, in Denton, Texas. Jackie Vandergift, a 24-year-old student at Texas Woman's University, had set out for what she believed would be a typical evening of socializing. Recently starting a new chapter in her life, Jackie was studying nutrition with hopes of building a career in corporate wellness. Despite going through a recent breakup, she was optimistic about the future and excited to meet new people. That Tuesday evening, she ventured to the downtown area, a bustling spot filled with students from the University of North Texas and her own university. Though her initial plan was to meet up with friends, after some last-minute texting, her plans changed, and she ended up at Fry Street Public House, a popular local bar. There, she struck up a conversation with a bald, fit man in his late 20s. Unbeknownst to Jackie, this seemingly innocent encounter would soon take a horrific turn. When Jackie failed to return home the next morning, her roommates grew alarmed. As their messages and calls to her phone went unanswered, their concern turned into panic. As the investigation intensified, authorities quickly descended on the scene in Acorn Woods, launching a detailed inquiry into the fire and the shocking discovery of the body. Grapevine Police Patrolman Oscar Ramirez was the first to arrive, followed closely by Fire Chief Darrell Brown. Both men, veterans of their fields, had witnessed their fair share of grim scenes, but nothing could have prepared them for the horrors that awaited. The body they discovered was badly burned, dismembered, with limbs severed at the elbows and knees, and the torso grotesquely mutilated. The victim's head had been removed and placed in a plastic bag under the arm, a chilling and deliberate act. The strong smell of gasoline at the scene suggested the fire was set deliberately, likely to destroy evidence. The gruesome nature of the crime prompted an immediate escalation. Calls were made to bring in the Texas Rangers and an FBI forensic team. By early afternoon, investigators had identified the victim through fingerprints. It was Jackie Vandergift. Although her body had been brutally dismembered, the medical examiner confirmed that the mutilation had occurred after death. Despite the horrific state of her remains, it was clear Jackie had been petite, standing under 5 feet tall and weighing less than 100 pounds. Detectives quickly turned their focus to Jackie's personal life. They interviewed her roommates, who described Jackie as a dedicated student, focused on her studies, with no mention of any new romantic relationships. A thorough search of her apartment yielded no significant clues, and her car, still parked in the lot, contained her purse with cash and credit cards untouched. Investigators now faced the daunting task of reconstructing Jackie's final hours, hoping to uncover the truth behind her tragic end. The investigation quickly progressed after detectives traced Jackie's phone records, identifying 2 key contacts. Her ex-boyfriend was swiftly ruled out as a suspect due to a solid alibi. However, the second contact, Sherry Bogue, provided crucial information. Sherry had been with Jackie the night she disappeared and recalled meeting a man with her at Fry Street Public House, a bald man who seemed overly interested in Jackie. Detectives meticulously reviewed surveillance footage from nearby establishments, leading to a major breakthrough. Footage from a local pizza parlor captured Jackie walking with the man, who was soon identified as Charles Bryant, a 30-year-old with a criminal history, including a recent arrest for violating a protective order taken out by an ex-girlfriend he had been stalking. Charles Bryant was the kind of man who lurked on the fringes of life, a self-proclaimed fitness instructor with a trail of failed relationships and an unsettling reputation. Behind his bland, forgettable persona lay a deeply insecure and volatile individual, clinging desperately to control. When his fragile ego was shattered, Bryant's pent-up rage exploded in a horrific act of violence, claiming the life of Jackie Vandergift. Far from the mastermind he may have imagined himself to be, Bryant's pathetic attempts to cover up his crime only highlighted the cowardice that defined him, a man whose life was destined for failure, long before he became a killer. With Bryant now in focus as the prime suspect, detectives acted quickly. Surveillance footage placed Bryant's silver Mitsubishi Outlander near Fry Street Public House on the night Jackie disappeared. Additional footage showed Jackie entering Bryant's vehicle at around 8:47 p.m., while cell tower data tracked their movements through Denton and later near Bryant's residence in Hazlet, Texas. On the morning of September 14th, as Jackie's remains were being discovered in Acorn Woods, investigators moved in on Bryant's home. His arrest for violating the protective order provided them with the pretext to search his house and car. What they found was chilling. Inside Bryant's car, investigators discovered a .22 caliber pistol, a stun gun, zip ties, and blue plastic flakes consistent with the remnants of the kiddie pool found at the burn site. Blonde hairs matching Jackie's were tangled in the stun gun, and bloodstains were found in the cargo area. Additional searches of his home revealed 4 more kiddie pools and a black satchel emblazoned with the Texas Women's University logo, the same one Jackie had carried that night. When questioned, Bryant didn't deny his involvement. Instead, he claimed he couldn't remember the details, but acknowledged, "It had to be me." Despite the physical evidence, the pistol, stun gun, zip ties, bloodstains, and even Jackie's belongings, Bryant refuses to fully admit guilt. Instead of offering a clear confession or taking accountability, he attempts to distance himself from the crime through a fog of supposed forgetfulness, claiming he couldn't remember the details. This half-hearted acknowledgement, "It had to be me," suggests an internal struggle between facing the reality of his actions and psychologically denying his role. Pure denial in this case is a mechanism to avoid confronting the full weight of his actions, a way to deflect responsibility even when the evidence is undeniable.
It had to be me. Obviously, it all points to me. I can't recall that. I don't know why I would. Someone I don't know even.
But the thing about it is having the conversation with
Yeah,
the
the
neighbor the
following
next
day,
day.
I get it.
Yeah.
And I think I'm
And so,
reference to Caitlin.
why in the world?
Charles, you want something to drink?
Thanks, man.
I'm Sergeant Henley. We haven't met. I feel like I know you, though, because I've been watching the goings-on or whatnot. And I keep hearing you say you don't know what's going on. You don't remember. You don't this. You don't that. Come on, man. We've laid it out for you, okay?
Yeah, it's there. End up in Grapevine. I
We're-
remember that.
We're over there at your house, okay? We have video of you with this girl.
Showed me.
You're at the bar. Her cell phone goes to your house. You're walking around Walmart at 4 o'clock in the morning buying a shovel.
I can call service.
She's found dead in a pool that came from your backyard. Okay?
Yeah.
You
it's on
can't
me.
tell me you can't tell me you don't remember.
I don't know why.
Come on, man.
Well, I'm giving you
You were
that.
there.
Obviously.
You did all these things, and there is no way in the world that a
I can't
man
recall
could
killing someone.
travel all the way from Hazlet to Grapevine, from Denton to Hazlet to Grapevine, and not remember. Stand up and man up and
Dude,
tell us
I-
what you did for this girl's family.
I'm admitting to it. I can't remember killing anyone, man.
You've
know how
got
to do
to.
some-
There's no way you remember all the big things in your life. Okay?
The evidence against Charles Bryant was indeed overwhelming, painting a picture of cold, calculated violence. The intensity of the evidence left little room for doubt regarding his guilt. His own chilling confession alone would have been compelling, but it was backed up by a robust array of physical and digital evidence. Forensic teams meticulously linked him to the crime scene, while surveillance footage captured his movements, creating an unbreakable trail that led straight to his conviction. Moreover, Bryant's actions after the murder, tampering with evidence in a desperate attempt to cover up his crime, only further solidified the case against him. His sentencing of life imprisonment, with an additional 20 years for tampering with evidence, reflected the magnitude of his crime and the airtight nature of the prosecution's case. Jackie Vandergift's murder shook the community to its core. The loss of a young woman with so much promise, combined with the brutality of the crime, ignited feelings of both rage and deep sorrow. The trial may have provided a sense of justice for her family, but the gravity of the case and the evidence that vividly illustrated Bryant's violent nature left a lasting mark on everyone who followed the case. Despite the trial's conclusion, the pain of Jackie's loss, symbolized by the extinguished fire in Acorn Woods, lingered, a reminder of the void her absence created and the unchecked darkness that took her away. The scene highlights how denial can become a desperate and chilling response when a person is trapped by the truth, refusing to fully accept the consequences of their actions. The contrast between Bryant's casual acknowledgement and the horror of what the investigators uncovered creates a disturbing portrait of a man detached from the moral gravity of his crime. The evidence against Charles Bryant was overwhelming, and the trial that followed left little doubt in anyone's mind about his guilt. His chilling confession, the physical evidence, and the digital trail of surveillance footage sealed his fate. In the end, Bryant was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison, plus 20 years for tampering with evidence. Jackie Vandergift's murder sent shockwaves through the community. A young woman with her entire future ahead of her had been senselessly taken, her life cut short by a man whose violent tendencies had gone unchecked for too long. The trial brought some measure of justice for Jackie's family, but the memory of that fateful night would forever haunt those who knew her. The fire in Acorn Woods had been extinguished, but the flames of grief and sorrow burned on in the hearts of Jackie's loved ones. Thank you very much for joining me in today's episode. It truly means a lot to me. If you enjoyed the content, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for more gripping true crime stories. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.